all morning. There's a new debt plan on the table today, just 2 weeks till the potential default day. The Gang of Six proposal has moved from behind closed doors and into a very public debate. Republican Senator Mark Kirk of Illinois serves on the banking committee, had some positive things to say about it. Senator, my apologies for some of our technical difficulties. Thanks for rolling with it. First, let me get your impressions of the Gang of Six.
I think they've done a very good piece of work, especially the tax reform, which will wipe out tax expenditures and then lower the top rates from 39 to 28, and also taking on the tough issue of entitlement reform, which is where the real spending control has to happen if we are going to kick our spending habit.
Now, as you know, this is going to be probably a tough sell for House Republicans. I want to play for you what Ohio Republican Jim Jordan had to say about the Gang of Six proposal yesterday.
Our folks here, we don't like the Gang of Six plan, if you can ever figure out exactly what's in it, and we certainly don't like the McConnell plan. In fact, we're circulating a letter. We've got over 80 signatures on the letter saying we don't want the McConnell plan.
There's a difference between not liking something and not voting for something. What pitch would you make as a Republican senator to that Republican member of the House or other House Republicans who are skeptical of this Gang of Six plan?
Well, as fiscal conservatives, I think the Gang of Six plan, which calls for lowering the future borrowing in the United States by over $3 trillion, is necessary to reassure Americans, markets, and our allies overseas. And I would particularly focus on the leadership of Senator Tom Coburn, probably the most fiscally conservative senator of all 100 senators. He supports this plan because he thinks it's the best way to cut spending. And we now may have this Coburn and Democratic leadership alliance, surprising agreement on both sides. And I think that's necessary because the rating agencies have said that Uncle Sam's credit rating is very much at risk.
Have you felt, you know, what was fascinating to watch as an observer yesterday was all of the rank and file, so many rank and file senators coming out yesterday, whether it was a Democrat or a Republican, whether it was you or Dan Coates, Republican side, or Ron Wyden, Michael Bennet on the Democratic side, it's almost as if there had been pent-up frustration that you hadn't been involved in the debate, even as you were taking heat back home. Is that a fair observation?
I think from the leadership side, most of the groups, for example, under Vice President Biden, et cetera, were run by the loyal partisans of both parties. And that is a recipe for long-term failure. There is a vital center here. And I think senators who are increasingly alarmed about the fiscal future of the country. We very much supported the decision of the Bipartisan Deficit Commission report under Republicans Senator Alan Simpson and Erskine Bowles. But frankly, under the leadership of Tom Coburn, the Gang of Six proposal is, from a fiscal conservative point, even better than what the Bipartisan Deficit Commission report laid out.
Look, you just came from the House. You were a member of the House. Explain the difference between, is it easier being against something in the House than it is in the Senate in your mind? Or what would explain some of the differences?
It's exactly the opposite. Now, I've been a senator, a junior senator, all of 200 days, but I served in the House for the last 10 years. And I think in the Senate, it's very easy to be against everything, and everything grinds to a halt. But I think there's growing alarm on both sides about the fiscal future of the country. I do believe that the nuance that you just picked up, House members say they are against McConnell, but they have concerns about the Gang of Six, opens up the door. And as we approach the deadline, we remember 1996 when, as the government shut down, Speaker Gingrich's forces very quickly collapsed. This is a way for us not to collapse. This is a way for us to go forward with a very credible plan that doesn't cut billions, it cuts trillions.
All right. Illinois Republican Senator Mark Kirk, former member of the House as well. Thanks for joining me this morning.
You bet. Thanks, Chuck.
All right. Up next.